So welcome everyone to another Paint Calm on a Friday. And just excuse my mess over there where I've been planning lots of things for YouTube and for my Patreon. So we're on episode 11 of our Paint Calm on a Friday. And I'm just going to share with you where my inspiration came from. But then when we go to do this little painting, I will put my sketch up in the corner so that you can see that and use it. So let's just start by showing you where I got my inspiration from. So first of all, this picture here, which kind of looked as though there's some kind of building or something in the background there. But I really liked the cow parsley in the front and this lovely little piece of fencing there. And then the other picture that I've pulled up to use is this one, which is a much bigger close-up of the cow parsley with a little bee on it. So I've kind of used both of those pictures and kind of as my friend Diana would say, mashed them together. And then what I will have up on my screen so that you can all follow along with me is this outline, which is not too difficult to draw, hopefully. So that's what we are going to be doing today. So without further ado, let me change my position and my cameras and we will make a start. So here we are then. I've left the sketch up on the left hand side there for you. I have already sketched mine out. That was my original, which I have completed. So this was where I was testing it out. So this is what we're going to be aiming for today. So we don't need that many colours. We really need a grey. We need a sort of a limey yellow green colour, a bright colour for the door here. You don't have to use the cobalt teal that I used. We're going to need some white, so you could use trusty bleed proof white, or you could use a Posca pen, a white Posca pen, or white acrylic, or a white acrylic gouache, or white gouache even. And then for our little bee down the bottom here, we just need a bit of yellow and a bit of black. So not too difficult, I think. Where I've made these marks in the paper, I have used this embossing tool, but you could use a ballpoint pen that's run out, or anything that's got a little bit of a blunt end on it, pointy blunt end on it. Trying to think what else you might be able to use to do that. Some of you might have something like this on the end of a paintbrush. That might work, or maybe a tool like that. You could just use the end. Wait. You could just use the end of a small paintbrush. That would do it as well. So hopefully that gives you a few ideas on how we're going to score these lines in. Right, I'm going to put that away. Hopefully whilst I've been talking, you've been doing your sketch. And so we're going to make a start, and we're going to get a very pale grey. Now I've got some Payne's grey left over on this palette, so I'm going to use that, I think, today. And because I want it to be pretty pale, I'm actually going to wet this top half. I'm not worried about being too careful about the going around the buildings, and you can go straight over your cow parsley. That won't matter. We just need to get this very pale. So which one should I use? Let's use this one. We'll get our very pale sky in. And as you can see, I have gone over my buildings a tad, but it doesn't matter because we're going to paint those in a darker grey. So we're not going to worry about that too much. Next, we're going to get the grey and this yellowy green in down the bottom here. And again, I think I'm going to wet this so that it moves about. So there we go. It's mine nice and wet. And I'm going to put some of the grey in because we want it to tie in. And then I'm going to take my bright green lake. Yeah, I'll use you, I think. And this gives me, water that down a bit more, this lovely bright green, yellowy green colour. And I'm just popping that. I don't know if you could, yes, you can see that. Here and there, basically. I'm not covering the grey completely. And I kind of want this bit here to be quite bright, just under this big building. So if I, ooh, okay, let's just bring this up a bit. Hopefully you can see what I've done. Now, when that dries, okay, stay. When that dries, we might need to do that a little bit darker. But I'm going to dry it all and see what I've got first, before I go adding lots more paint in there. Okay, there we go. Now, I think I do need both the grey and the green to be a bit darker. So let's be a bit bolder and get some more of this colour in. because it looks too much like the sky at the moment. Yours might not. Yours might be looking okay, but mine definitely needs a bit more. So I'm just going to get a bit more in here. And that has now darkened that up. And there are some little patches, but that's, I'm not too worried about those. And now, while it is still wet, let us take our whatever tool it is that you're using, and we will get some lines in here. Just so that we've got some interest going on. That's going to slam shut now. So I'm going to bring this up so that you can see where I've scored in these little lines that really add some interest for us. Okay, let me pop that back, open that back up. There we go. Right, next, I was using a big size 12 brush, by the way. I'm now going to go down to a size 6. Is that, oh, that might still be a bit wet. We don't want that bleeding. Right, I'm just going to make sure that this is dry before I start putting my buildings in. There we go. That's better. Now, I'm just going to do the buildings in grey, but I'm going to leave that door because I want that door to pop. So let's get my grey. I've got another bit of grey there. This is all just Payne's grey, by the way. I was doing some tests with Payne's grey earlier. I mean, from the photo, you couldn't really see what was in the background there because it had been blurred out, but I just felt it adds a bit of interest to have some, I don't know, little barns maybe. Maybe we could call these barns. And they can look a little bit higgledy-piggledy. Barns aren't often neat and tidy, are they? There we go. So we've got our little buildings in the background there. What are we going to do next? So I think that next, probably going to use an even smaller brush. So I'm going to be using a size 2. And taking my Payne's grey again, or whatever grey you used, I'm going to get my stems and these little bits of the cow parsley in there. And you should still be able to see your drawing underneath. If not, you can always look at the reference picture up there. And there we go. There's another one in. And then this one coming off. Then we've got our little titchy one at the bottom here. And finally, this one coming out of the corner. There we go. So you'll notice we've got 5 odd number. There we are. That's those in. Now, how dry is that? That's not too bad now. So I'm going to pick a colour for my door, and I'm rather fond of cobalt teal. So I'm going to pop that, and I think it goes nicely with this limey green colour. I'm going to get my little doorway in there now, like so. And I'm going to get this barbed wire fence. That's what it is, isn't it? Yeah. So let's get a bit more of my grey. Might need a bit more than that. Let's go. Still with my little size 2. You know, shaky hand is good for this. We don't want it to look too perfect. And then we need these little kind of, I'm just putting little crosses in to represent those kind of knotty bits. Knots, is that what you would call them? Kind of where it's tied together, so that we get that impression of, there we go. So we've got that going across now. Right, before we do underneath here and tidy that up, let's get our white out. Ta-da! Here is our white. And I use my small little size 2 brush. And then we're going to get these cow parsleys in. Mind your door. I nearly put my finger in the door there. Right. Now this one won't show up that much. Just shut that again and bring mine up. But it will slightly against that very pale grey sky. Get you back in there. There we go. Do our next one. You'll probably be able to see this one a bit better. There. And there's our third one. I've obviously gone from left to right here, but if you're left-handed, you might want to do it the other way round so that you don't smudge what you've done. Now I'm going to leave a gap on this one because we need to get our B in there, and then once I've got my B in there, I will maybe add a few more white dots. We will see. Okay, I think we can probably do this bit at the bottom here now. That should be dry enough. So let's go up to size 6. And I'm basically mixing my lime green with my Payne's grey. That's what I'm doing. And I just want to get, I don't know, a little bit of green grasses, little something going on to help break up and give a little bit of a kind of horizon line. So just get a few little grasses, bushes maybe on the edge of that. I've just smudged my door. Okay, this is Paint Calm, so we will take a little piece of tissue and problem solved. I didn't want the bush kind of, and I'm just maybe putting a bit of that down to give a bit of shadow there, just a little bit. You probably can't see that too well because it is only tiny, but I've just kind of dragged down just a little bit here and there just to give a bit of shadow there. There we are. Tiny little details, but you know, who knows, they might make a difference. Right, let us move on to do our B. Now, we're not going to panic about doing our B. I'm going to use neutral tint. You can use any colour, black, maybe even stick with very concentrated Payne's grey if you wanted to. And I'm just going to do sort of the 3 black stripes like that. Hopefully you can see that. I think you can. There you go. That is the beginnings of our B. And I'm then going to add the yellow in there and a couple of little antennae, and that will give the impression of a bee. So just little curves, basically. We need that to dry though. So, can I wait? No, I can't. Let's dry this. Now then. Yep, we're okay. Right. Let's get the yellow in. Back to my little size 2. I don't have a whole heap of yellows, but I'll use this one. Right, there we go. And we will get the yellow part in. So there you go. That's my yellow part in. And then because I'm going to need it quite fine, I think we'll use a fine liner. Right, what size are you? 0.5, you'll do. I'm just going to doing that. So I've done a couple of little antennae coming out and then these little legs. And that means that we can now finish off. And don't leave your paintbrushes in the water like me. Bad habit. So now I can add a bit more to this cow parsley. We don't mind that it's there we go. Now our bee looks like he's in the cow parsley there. Just a tiny little bee there. Okay. I think that needs darkening up a little bit. Yours might be okay. I think I want a bit of contrast with the grey of the sky. So I've just darkened that one up a little bit. Right. Now, I think it's up to you. You could leave it as is, or you could decide that you want to do some green and white splats, maybe. You could add a tree in the background here if you wanted. I quite like it being stark. Yeah, kind of less is more, as they say. But let's take this off the board and see what we have. Let's move that one out of the way. And maybe we will lose. Where's my mouse gone? Okay, let's lose that sketch now. And there you have it. I think it's quite simple but quite effective. Entirely up to you if you wanted to add a bit more to this or not. But I think our bee's quite cute in there. And so, yeah, there we are. There is a fairly easy paint calm for you. Episode 11. I will leave a link to the sketch and to the 2 Unsplash reference pictures in the description below. so that you can use those. All right. Well, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay calm, and yeah, have a lovely weekend. Thank you all so much for supporting and watching. Take care.